The Supreme Court called it a complete breach of trust that shattered dreams of thousands who invested their life savings. The Amrapali Group promised 42,000 apartments in 36 months, but delivered nothing except financial and emotional devastation. But here's what the headlines missed. This wasn't just a real estate scam. This was the moment that killed India's construction revolution. The technology they used was actually brilliant, precast concrete. This could have changed everything. Instead, their epic failure made an entire nation afraid of the very innovation that could save it. How does a company steal 5,000 crore rupees in broad daylight while everyone watches? The answer lies in a web of deception so sophisticated that it took forensic experts years to untangle. The scale was staggering. Forensic audits revealed that Amrapali had created over 150 dummy companies for one purpose: to siphon money from home buyers into private accounts. These weren't small businesses, they were elaborate shells designed to make stolen money disappear completely. Each company had fake directors, fabricated addresses, and manufactured business activities that existed only on paper. What makes this even more shocking is how banks, government authorities, and auditors became silent partners in this massive fraud. Bank of Baroda approved loans worth hundreds of crores without proper verification. Noida and Greater Noida Development Authorities issued completion certificates for buildings that were barely half finished. Chartered accountants signed off on financial statements that showed healthy cash flows when the company was hemorrhaging money into personal accounts. The systematic approach was breathtaking in its audacity. Amrapali created fake financial records that showed construction progress where none existed. They manipulated construction timelines, telling families that their homes would be ready in 36 months when they knew it was impossible. False progress reports were sent to trusting families every quarter, complete with photographs of construction that was happening at a different project entirely. Meanwhile, Noida and Greater Noida authorities overlooked violations after violation. Buildings were approved without proper soil testing. Fire safety clearances were issued for structures that had no fire exits. Environmental clearances came through for projects that violated every green building norm. All while home buyers kept paying their quarterly installments, believing their money was going towards their dream homes. The human cost was devastating. Retired government officials sold ancestral properties to buy apartments in Amrapali Silicon City project. A young couple took loans worth 20 times their annual salary, confident that their builder agreements would provide legal protection. Middle-class families exhausted their children's education funds, trusting that their investments would be safe because the company had government approvals. Pradeep Kumar, a software engineer from Gurgaon, took a loan of 45 lakhs to buy a 3 BHK apartment in Amrapali's Leisure Valley project. He paid installments for 4 years, while the company sent him monthly updates showing construction progress. When he visited the site in 2018, he found an empty plot with no foundation work. His builder agreement, which he thought guaranteed his investment, turned out to be a worthless paper. Then, Bank of Baroda's insolvency proceedings made the nightmare even worse for homebuyers who thought they had legal protection. Instead of recovering their money, families discovered they were now unsecured creditors in a bankruptcy case. Their dream homes became assets in a liquidation process where banks got priority over people who actually paid for these buildings. But the real tragedy wasn't just that the money was lost. What happened next changed everything for India's construction industry. When news broke that Amrapali had used precast concrete technology in many of its failed projects, the entire sector panicked. Precast concrete, which had been gaining acceptance for a faster, more efficient building method, suddenly became associated with fraud and failure. Other builders immediately distanced themselves from precast technology. Government authorities became suspicious of any construction company proposing modern building methods. Banks started rejecting loans. The technology that could have revolutionized Indian construction became untouchable overnight. This single company's mismanagement destroyed public trust and created fear around construction innovation that lasted for years. Families who had never heard of precast concrete before Amrapali now believed it was somehow responsible for their losses. Real estate agents started using traditional construction methods as a selling point, as if innovation itself was dangerous. The construction industry, which desperately needed faster and more efficient building methods to meet India's growing housing demand, suddenly found itself moving backwards. Projects that could have been completed in 18 months using precast technology were now taking 4 to 5 years using conventional methods. But the most devastating part wasn't the financial fraud. It was how they killed the future of Indian construction by making the entire nation afraid of the very technology that could have saved it. The technology that could have solved India's housing crisis became its biggest villain overnight. Precast concrete, which has been quietly revolutionizing construction across the world, suddenly found itself branded as the reason 42,000 families lost their homes. Amrapali was among the first major Indian developers to adapt precast concrete technology around 2011. This wasn't some experimental building method. Precast technology had already proven itself globally as a revolutionary approach that builds faster, stronger, and more efficiently than traditional construction. The process involves manufacturing building components like walls, slab, and beams in a controlled factory condition, then transporting them to construction sites for assembly. When executed properly, this method can reduce construction time by 40 to 50% while improving quality and reducing waste. The company's ambitious plans seem perfect for precast technology. They promised to deliver 42,000 apartments across projects in Noida and Greater Noida within 36 months. The speed and efficiency of precast manufacturing made these timelines theoretically possible. International examples showed that precast could handle large-scale residential projects with remarkable success. Singapore's public housing program had used precast concrete to build over 1 million homes. European countries regularly completed massive residential complexes using precast methods in record time. But here's where everything went very wrong. Amrapali treated advanced manufacturing like traditional construction, hiring unqualified personnel for cutting edge processes that demanded precision and expertise. The fatal flaw wasn't in the technology, it was in the execution philosophy. They approached 21st century manufacturing like 20th century thinking. The technical disasters started immediately. Poor planning meant precast elements manufactured in their facilities didn't fit together properly at construction sites. Wall panels arrived with incorrect dimensions. Floor slabs had connection points that didn't align with the supporting structures. Architectural drawings didn't match manufacturing specifications, creating gaps and structural weaknesses that made buildings unsafe. Quality control became a joke. Precast manufacturing requires strict adherence to concrete mix ratios, curing times, and structural tolerances. Amrapali's inexperienced team ignored these critical parameters. Concrete elements emerged from their factories with air bubbles, improper reinforcement placement, and inconsistent strength properties. Installation was botched by teams that had never worked with precast systems before. They used traditional construction techniques to handle precision manufactured components, damaging elements during transport and assembly. The Supreme Court's verdict revealed how the company's management, CFO, auditors failed to maintain proper accounts, especially after March 31st, 2015, making it impossible to track fund movements or construction progress. This administrative chaos meant that even when technical problem arose, there was no systematic way to address them or to learn from mistakes. When Amrapali projects collapsed, the ripple effect was devastating for precast technology. Other builders immediately distanced themselves from precast methods. Industry publications ran articles questioning the viability of factory manufactured construction components. Government authorities became skeptical of any developer proposing modern building methods. The entire construction sector blamed precast technology instead of recognizing the incompetent execution behind the failures. The reaction was completely unfair. It's like blaming a Ferrari for crashing when the driver doesn't know how to drive. The car isn't defective. The person operating it lacks the necessary skills and knowledge. Precast concrete technology had been successfully building millions of homes, schools, hospitals, and commercial buildings worldwide for decades. The technology itself was sound, proven, and reliable. Evidence of successful precast implementation was everywhere except India. Dubai's construction boom relied heavily on precast elements to meet the impossible deadlines. Australia used precast concrete for affordable housing programs that delivered quality homes quickly and efficiently. Even neighboring countries like Bangladesh were successfully adopting precast methods for large-scale infrastructure projects. India lost years of potential progress because one company's mismanagement created nationwide fear of innovation. While other countries accelerated their construction capabilities using advanced Manufacturing methods. India's building industry moved backwards, returning to slower, more expensive traditional techniques just when the country needed faster housing techniques. The insight became clear. Precast technology wasn't the problem. The problem was bringing traditional construction mindsets to advanced manufacturing processes that required completely different approaches, skills, and management systems. The misconception didn't just hurt one technology, it showed down India's entire construction revolution when we needed it the most desperately. The solution isn't abandoning innovation, it's demanding proper execution, ethical practices, and genuine expertise from the people who implement it. When precast concrete is handled by qualified teams with transparent processes and honest intentions, it delivers exactly what India needs. Homes, schools, hospitals built faster, stronger, and more affordably than traditional methods. India's construction future depends on learning from Amrapali's failures and choosing partners who understand both advanced technology and moral responsibility. The construction revolution isn't dead. It just needs leaders who prioritize delivery over profit, competence over shortcuts, and community benefit over personal gain.